Good afternoon, Team Dynasty and fellow realtors. It's great to be back here in the US, and I think I wanted to give you a really important update regarding what's going on globally with the coronavirus. It's a serious issue. It is a real threat, but there is a lot of fake news going on about the coronavirus, which is now being called the COVID-19 coronavirus disease, which started in 2019. Today is February 12th, and it's important to give you a really strong and recent update of what's going on, how it's going to impact us as realtors, and wanted to give you some guidance because I did just travel back from Taiwan. We went with my wife and my little baby boy Brady to overseas, and we did go through the flight and had a lot of concerns. So as you can see, we were wearing protective masks, which is not 100% preventative. So I wanted to give you a couple updates of that. And we had a little party for Brady to meet our grandma, who's 98 years old. And we also got to meet baby Brady's cousin as well, who's born the same month of September 2019. But let's get into the news. Let's talk really about what is the coronavirus. And this is something that is really impacting people who may and may not even know that they have any symptoms. What really happens is this virus is spread. It is known and called, there's not enough information that's proven, but they believe it's to be spread even through the air and also on surfaces. So what happens is this virus kind of takes over your immune system. It goes into your respiratory tracts and could impact your lungs, where you may develop some symptoms of pneumonia, coughing, especially a fever. If you're getting a high fever, that is something that you should definitely be on the lookout for. But then again, there are some people who have no symptoms but can be spreading this virus. And so I want to share with you a couple of things that it is impacting globally. 28 countries are reporting cases. The number has risen since today, where there's more than 1,100 reported deaths and 45,000 people infected. And it's not just here in China, it's going to Hong Kong, Taiwan, Philippines, all over Asia, Europe, and even the US and Canada. So this is something important, and I just wanted to give you a little message about how we can prevent this and what we should do in our business. But we can see here, there's cruise lines that are being quarantined for 14 days. There are people being stranded with nowhere to go. There is half the population of Wuhan have left the area already, and that's why you see this virus spreading globally. But what we also see is that there's a lot of travel restrictions. When I traveled back from Taiwan, they asked me 3 questions. Have you ever been to China? Did you go to Hubei or Wuhan province? And I answered no. They gave me a fever check with a thermometer reading, and then I passed on through. But there are people who are lying on their immigration or in the customs, and there are people out there who are just trying to escape, and they're going to do anything they can to leave the area. And they are even leaving through Hong Kong, who still has 3 open borders from there in China. So I just wanted to advise you to be cautious. And if you're out there in public, even though we're here in Los Angeles, not many of us are wearing masks, which may or may not help prevent anything. So even though it may help contain your virus, if you are sick or you have a fever, I implore you to just please wear a mask. And if you want to be extra cautious, it may help you prevent a little bit. Maybe not 100%, but at least any 10, 20, 30% of prevention could be helpful. What you also should be doing is practicing good hygiene. So that means washing your hands thoroughly under warm water for 30 seconds and getting every single square inch. Try not to touch a lot of surfaces or elevator buttons or railings, because it could last on surfaces for 5 to 6 days. So that's just something that's important for you to know. And I also want to understand that the victims that are there, they're not enemies, they're real people. These are families, they're even children, and it impacts a lot of elderly who have maybe weaker immune systems. So you don't know who's going to have it or who's going to be contagious, but I just want to advise you, maybe not shake hands for the next couple of months, because it will probably help prevent you having close contact. They advise, through the reports that I've read, to stay at least 6 feet away from another person. Other reports say, stay at home all day long and quarantine yourself if you've been overseas. And sometimes you do need to do preventative measures, and they're doing that in various provinces in China where they're being quarantined. I have two videos I want to share with you. I'm not going to show it on this video. I'll have it in the link below. And lastly, I just want to talk about my opinions about what's going to happen with the economy and the real estate in itself. And so if you can see from my slides here, I do believe that the reported cases from China are actually very, very low. And this for several reasons. One, they do not have enough test kits to even test positive. Secondly, the supplies and the hospital beds, they are not admitting new patients. So therefore, they're not even counting those who are not admitted because they may or may not have symptoms yet, even though they do have the potential virus infected by themselves. The other things that are going on, that if it's not contained, this could spread worldwide definitely, because it's so easy. They're saying each person who's infected may infect 2 to 3 other people with or without their knowledge. And there seems to be a very major economic slowdown in China. So a lot of companies and factories have shut down. The Starbucks, Tesla, a lot of the Amazon, even the major flights have canceled travel to and from China itself. So I do see that a lot of the goods, the parts, a lot of the supplies, the machines, parts are coming from China. And so if they're not working, they're not able to provide supplies, there may be increased costs to various things that we use every single day. And I also want to show to you that there will be lower demand in travel, not just in China, but just globally. There will be a lot more conservative atmosphere. People are not going to be traveling, spending money. Tourism industry might probably dip for the next 2-3 months while they try to contain this virus. And I have noticed that the Chinese stocks have dipped dramatically despite the Chinese government investing 15 billion into Chinese stocks, and they still have fallen dramatically. I believe a lot of investors have taken their investments into major American stocks and companies, and our stocks have done well this past 2 weeks, all-time highs. There is a shortage of hospital supplies. I went to look for face masks, and the prices are now really, really expensive. There's a lack of supplies and hospital beds to contain them. And these quarantines are not going to be sufficient. I can tell you that the virus could be about 14 to 24 days before being symptomatic. And lastly, I just want to tell you that there may be a good side for real estate. I believe that in terms of demand, a lot of Chinese are exiting the area and leaving out of town, and they may be potentially coming here to Los Angeles, looking for housing, whether they're looking to rent or buy. I can tell you that for the real estate and supply of inventory, that might be higher demand, which should lead to higher values temporarily due to this coronavirus. So that's the good news for us in real estate, but there is no good news in this kind of virus itself. So I want to encourage you to be very, very cautious if you're holding open houses or shaking hands with new business people, or especially people who have come from the Chinese or Hong Kong region, because there may be a threat, and just be respectfully, just say, I just being very, very cautious. So just want to give you that update for this week, and thank you all for watching this video, and I really want to just stay safe, okay? Thanks everybody.